Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of What the Deck. So today I'm going to show you my vampire deck. So obviously my commander is going to be Edgar Markov, because no vampire deck is good without him as the commander. He's also got a stupidly powerful ability of Eminence, so that way he can do stuff from the command zone. I think there's only 5 or 6 cards in all of the Magic game that have Eminence. Then he's got First Strike and Haste. He's a 4/4 if I want to play him. I almost never put him on the field because he's just out there to generate me more and more vampires on the field itself. So every time I play a vampire, I get a vampire. So there's my commander. We're going to get into the creatures, or the planeswalkers, I mean. I'm getting really bad about doing that, but yes, planeswalkers are first. So the first planeswalker we're going to play is Sorin the Mirthless, which lets us deal some damage if you get to the final ability, but it's a Surge or make a vampire. Sorin Imperious Bloodlord, because I'm going to play a decent amount of the Sorins as long as I have them. Plus it's sack a vampire, do some stuff, get some stuff, and put a vampire card on the field. Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, because it can have lifelink to my creatures and planeswalkers as long as it's my turn, which is also nice. And then I like to play Sorin Markov, the original Sorin planeswalker. I mainly play him for his middle ability to make their life total become 10, which is just stupid and fun to do. So there's all the planeswalkers. So we're going to get into the creatures. First creature I play is a Chosen of Markov, which is a fantastic card, mainly because of the art. I love it, but it lets me tap an untapped vampire to transform it, which it'll turn into this 4/4. Which is one of my most favorite arts in all of Magic. There's only a few that are just perfect for me, and that's one of them. We play a Cordial Vampire. So as long as this vampire or another creature dies, I get to put a 1/1 counter on each vampire I control. Play a Captivating Vampire, because I can gain control of creature that becomes a vampire, and I play this with another card in this deck that I'll explain in a few. And it does something really stupid with a very specific card, and it's hilarious. I play Lucy Westerna, because it's one of the Dracula cards that were made. I like to grab the Dracula cards, especially for a vampire deck. And then it can flip over into Lucy Arisen Vampire. And it gets +2/+0 as long as an opponent controls a human. Obviously, that doesn't always happen. It's just a nice Dracula card to put in the deck. Play Zagros, because they can come as long as I got a party, which is a few of the different ones. I have to actually look to see what the party one is, but you know, he's got Flying, Death Touch, and Haste, and it gives all my other creatures Death Touch. Blood Artist, so if a whole bunch of stuff dies, or even a few things die, I can ping my opponents down to gain some life. Sisters of the Undead, which is Olivia Crimson Bride, so it's one of the Olivia cards, it's just the Dracula version. Child of Night, a lifelink 2/1, got to gain that, plus it's 2-drop, so it's early game vampires. Sanguine Spy, it's got Menace and lifelink, which is always nice. And then I can search and put the card on top of my library. I may put a card in my graveyard. Vampire Spawn, just a cheap 3-drop, 2/3, but whenever it enters, each opponent loses 2 life and I gain life. And with a couple of cards in this deck that you will obviously notice, if I can just start the life gain, life loss thing, I can just win the game. Bloodthirsty Conqueror, he's one part of the piece that does it. Obviously, there are other pieces, which is Sanguine Bond and... what is it? Oh, I'll have to look. I don't even remember what the other card's called right now. But this will help you jump into a infinite combo to win the game. And he's got Flying, Death Touch, 5/5. I play an Asterian Decadent. He's mainly in the deck because I loved the Baldur's Gate 3 game, and I wanted him in the deck. Plus, he's not too bad. Master of Dark Rites lets me sack one of my tokens when it comes in to get some mana, but I can only use it to cast vampires, clerics, or demons. This is a vampire deck, so it's not that hard to use. We got the 3 Weird Sisters, which is Henrika Demanthi? Yeah, Demanthi. It's another one of those flip ones that you can get into, which will turn into Fiends of Darkest Night, also known as Henrika Infernal Seer. It's a Flying, Death Touch, lifelink. And then I can make all my stuff with Flying, Death Touch, or lifelink, get +1/+0. play a Bloodline Keeper. I like to play this because I can make a lot of tokens, and he makes bigger tokens, and he's also a buff on my other vampires. Vito, another piece that can be part of the combo. I think Magic Con Atlanta's going on, and I believe I saw there was a new secret lair of this card. That might have been one of the Iron Maiden ones that are coming out, which if it is, I might get a hold of a copy of that just to throw in the deck because it'd be funny. Play a Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Again, damage lost can double on this guy. Drana and Linvala. Mainly play it because it's a vampire, but activated abilities of creatures my opponent's control can't be activated. So I use it for that ability only. Olivia Valderin. This was one of the reasons I decided to make the deck, because I had gotten a copy of this card specifically, which is this one here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make vampires. And I went ahead and made it. We got Blood Crazed Socialite. Get some blood tokens, which blood tokens in this deck are helpful. The Karsi Revenant, Flying Death Touch Lifelink. And it can put a counter on something of those three abilities, which helps out with that other card that gives them a buff. Marauding Blight Priest. Whenever I gain life, each opponent loses a life. Vein Ripper. Some life loss, life gain. Helps out a lot. Plus it's got ward, so they got to sack stuff just to target it. Indulgent Aristocrat. Lifelink again, plus some buff on each vampire as long as I sack one of my tokens or something else. Vengeful Blood Witch. More life loss, life gain for me. Anya, Maid of Dishonor. Get some blood tokens, do some other stuff with it. Great card. Blood Tithe Collector. When it enters an opponent that lost life, they discard a card. For all your opponents. So all you gotta do is get one to lose life, and then everybody's gonna discard. Markov Baron. Gives my other vampires +1/+1, so it's the main reason it's in the deck. Plus it can come out for 1 if I got a few vampires on the field. Vampire Nighthawk, always in a vampire deck because it's got Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink, so make sure you use that one. Vampire of the Dire Moon, again, Death Touch, Lifelink for 1, so all I gotta do is play this on turn 1, and I'll have 2 vampires on turn 2. Dracula Voyager, also known as Edgar Charmed Groom, gives my vampires +1/+1, and he can transform himself into Casket of Native Earth. So Edgar Markov's Coffin. Mainly in the deck because it's for Edgar Markov, and also because I really just love the Dracula arts. And then our final creature we play for the deck is a High Society Hunter. It's got a flying 5/3. When it attacks, you may sack creature and put a 1/1 counter on it. And as long as it was a non-token, creature dies, I draw cards. So that's all the creatures for the deck. We're going to go into the sorceries now. We're going to start off with a Day of Judgment. Just in case the board state's getting out of hand, we're going to go ahead and throw this out there, and boom, that entire thing's taken care of. Night's Whisper lets me draw on cards and lose some life. I got a lot of life gain in the deck, so this isn't really going to hurt me too much. Exsanguinate. So making the opponents lose life and I'll gain life. Again, can trigger into infinite combos. Kindred Dominance. Destroy all creatures that aren't the chosen type. I'm obviously going to choose vampires and just wipe the boards. New Blood. So I play New Blood with the Captivating Vampire. And I like to play it mainly against Krenko, because this will let you gain control of something. And then it turns all of its text into the word vampire instead of anything else. So I'll play this. Krenko will become a vampire, and then he will start churning out vampires instead of making goblins. So it can get kind of nuts as long as you're playing against a Krenko deck. Fell the Mighty. Again, destroy a whole lot of creatures. Feed the Swarm. Just because it's some enchantment destruction, which is hard to do in black. So we got to make sure we got something that can help out. Demonic Tutor, because tutoring is always fun. And Damnation, again, to destroy the board. I like to get rid of stuff if it's really getting out of hand, and I can rebuild pretty quick with Edgar because of his Eminence ability. Well, let's get into the instance for the deck. We play Hero's Downfall. Helps me get rid of a Planeswalker if anybody's playing one. Harsh Sustenance. Mainly in the deck because the words sustenance, vampires, it's just funny. But it also deals damage. And I gain life, where X is the number of creatures I control, which could be a lot. Nasty End lets me draw some cards. Mysterious Blood Illness, so Vampire's Vengeance. Deals 2 damage to each non-vampire creature and create a blood token. Again, that's a lot of damage to not vampires, and I'm playing vampires. Play a Vampiric Tutor in the deck because the word Vampiric. And the last instant we like to play is Teferi's Protection, only because I do some stupid things like destroying creatures. Throw this out there and all my stuff will phase out. I'll have my creatures on the next turn. So then we're going to get into enchantments for the deck. The first enchantment we're going to play is Vampiric League. It's put in the deck because of the name Vampiric League. Plus it deals some damage and I gain some life. So it gives a creature lifelink. Phyrexian Arena helps me draw some extra cards to make sure I'm getting into the things I might need. Baron Step Siege. I play this because it can give all my vampires +1/+1 counter at the beginning of my end step, as long as that's the one I chose, which is Abzan. Exquisite Blood is part of the 2-card combo, which helps a lot, which whenever an opponent loses life, I gain life, and then I also play the Sanguine Bond. So whenever I gain life, they lose life, and I just keep doing that, and I can beat the whole table off just a 2-card combo if I've got something to do damage with. And then the last enchantment we play is Renewed Solidarity. Just gives my vampires a buff. So now we're going to get into the artifacts for the deck. There are only a few because you don't really need them. Main ones we're going to play are things like Swiftfoot Boots to protect our creatures when we need to. I like to play a Skull Clamp because I'm blanking a lot of tokens, so it can help me draw into cards as long as I'm making 1/1 tokens. Play a Commander Sphere just for some color fixing when need be. And as always, in all of my decks, I believe I will play a Soul Ring until they get rid of it, and then I'll play it with an Arcane Signet. Those are the final 2 artifacts for the deck. Then we'll get into the lands. I'll start off with the basics like I always do. So in this deck, there are actually a pretty decent amount of basics, because you don't always have to have the non-basic lands. So we'll play 9 Swamps, because most of our cards are black, if you noticed. Then we'll play 8 Mountains. And I like to use the old border on these, since I'm playing, vampires, and they're supposed to be very old creatures. And then 7 Plains. So 9, 8, 7. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I do. So for the non-basic lands, we're going to play a Radiant Summit. Comes in untapped as long as I got 2 or more basics. Shambling Vent. I like to get some of these arts, especially for this kind of, mana fixing when need to. I play the Bleachbone Verge. I think I'm only missing one of the Verges for this deck. I don't have I believe the red-black one yet for the deck in the borderless. So I got to get a copy of that, and I'll change out one of the other cards. But it's great. I love the Verges. Play a Path of Ancestry, because I just choose a color, and if I can get it, I can scry something. I play a Cavern of Souls because this is a tribal type deck, and I'll always choose vampires, which just helps out a lot. Play a Command Tower, because I think I put that in every deck. Play a secluded Courtyard, because it lets me choose a creature type and get some mana for that type. Fabled Passage, just to go fix some mana when I need to. Castle Dracula, Voldaren Estate is the name of the actual card. I'm only playing this because it's Castle Dracula, and I think it's funny. I play a Mana Confluence, because I'm going to gain a lot of life in this deck. This isn't really going to hurt me very much, and it lets me get specific colors. A Cursed Duneyard, which is a fantastic card that came out of the Aether Drift Commander decks, but it lets me regenerate a Shade, Skeleton, Spectre, Spirit, Vampire, Wraith, or Zombie. This is obviously a Vampire deck, so I'm going to choose Vampire. But Bloodfell Caves, just a 1 life gain, but it gives me some mana. And then the final land is Sunbillow Verge. Again, I will put the Verges anytime I can put the Verges, because they are just fantastic cards. Well, that is my Edgar Markov Vampire Tribal or Typal or, Kindred, whichever word you want to use is fine. That's my deck. Hopefully you guys like it. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, any questions, or you want to just say, hey, your deck sucks. Perfectly fine. Engagement is always great in YouTube's eyes. So check it out. Hopefully you like it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next What the Deck. Game on.